Hello and welcome back to the Belgium campaign for the Great War. Last time, as we continued to migrate south away from the Germans, we were able to capture Switzerland and then hold it against an Italian counterattack. That's all well and good, but it doesn't actually put us in a stable situation, so we had to keep moving to take the more valuable target of Milan. This proved difficult due to glitchiness, and we ended up actually having the Milanese attack us in a more difficult battle than I expected. We did catch a break right at the very start of this battle actually. You can see on the minimap the enemy's got this weird formation. They've put their artillery in front of this forest and their infantry behind it, meaning with my one rifle cav unit I can charge right away and go after the artillery. There was one infantry unit guarding it, but it's only a militia unit. It's being hit by its own field guns, so that's going to help us out. And they have no morale, so they just rout instantly, and then our rifle cav can take out both of the artillery crews. An excellent start. That's going to make life a lot easier for us. And we do get away just in time. The enemy have just started catching up and firing at us by the time we finish off those last crewmen. So now we'll draw the enemy army back towards our position in the corner of the map where my infantry have gradually been filing in as reinforcements. We don't have trenches for this battle, because everything's in a reinforcement army, but there was a set of walls that was in a perfect position for corner camping, so I set up there instead. The issue we're having is that the enemy outrange us, and the walls are on a hill, so they don't provide that much cover. Like, the guys in the third rank behind the wall are elevated above the wall sufficiently that they're just not in cover at all. Anyway, the solution to this is to run backwards and forwards to try and draw the enemy closer to the wall so we can actually start firing at them. As mentioned previously in this series, you do shoot a lot less when you're in cover, so it takes us a long time to defeat this one enemy unit that's eventually turned and done some weird AI stuff to make itself nice and ineffective, but we get them in the end. So that's one unit. Now we wait for the rest of the enemy army to converge on our position, but not all of them will be content to try and outrange us and snipe us down. Many units decided to go for a melee attack, and this also is actually pretty good when facing garrisoned troops because their low fire rate means we just don't really shoot them as they come in, and upon closer inspection our men just aren't really doing anything. They do appear to be frozen in time, neither firing nor fighting. I don't know what's going on with them. More bad news is that one enemy unit's outflanking us here. My one reserve unit was the survivors from my rifle cav, so I decided to have them attack the guys who are outflanking us, the citizenry. And I'm going to go for a melee attack because citizenry have like 2 or 3 morale, like the lowest stat in the game. So if anything happens to them, their morale will just break. So we charge them with a few horsemen, and that will be enough to finish them off. Meanwhile, down the line our men are sometimes firing at the enemy. I'm not sure, but anecdotally it seems it also reduces your reload rate. So while it's only your first rank firing, which dramatically reduces your overall fire rate, the first rank also fires slower than they normally do. At least that's how it appears to me. Now here we can see my rifle cav have cleared up the situation. They're pretty much dead, and so are the nearby infantry, but the enemy are just kind of giving up. I think they could have pressed their advantage here, but some of their men started walking around and not facing us and just generally not doing very much. So again, we are catching a break here thanks to the AI. The rest of their army is also just kind of walking around. They're threatening melee attacks, and in some cases they're doing it, but I think they're actually trying to set up to shoot us at point blank range, but they're doing it at weird angles and so have accidentally gone into melee. Basically though, they're not making a very effective attack, and while we have far fewer troops than them and they could just walk at us to take us out, they haven't thought of that yet. I'm trying to take out units at the back here because we are facing a sally, so we're going to have to fight this army again after this battle basically. Therefore I'm bothering to chase down routing troops and stuff. It's going to be especially important. Now as for how the battle ended, it just kind of did. Watch the balance bar just there. It just suddenly switched to we win. Nothing in particular happened, just all the units in front of us decided to chain route, and that was the end of that. So while things weren't actually going very well for us, we got away with it. Going to continue the battle here to pick up a few more kills, again just because this is a siege sally and we want to weaken the enemy as much as possible. So here's the final result. It wasn't even that good. Both sides lost half their men basically, which for us is particularly bad. We're down to like 300 guys. Plus, it's actually going to be worse than that, because now we're starting a new turn, we've taken attrition, so now it's more like 250 guys left over. And we're just going straight into another battle against the same army, only this time we're attacking, and this time, notably, the UI actually appeared, allowing us to make this attack, so that's nice of the game. Now this battle proved to be a little bit tricky for an unexpected reason. I set up in the usual way, got some trenches and got my support weapons to try and overcome our vague disadvantage against the enemy's numbers. However, the enemy AI this time has decided to do absolutely nothing. I think it's just not even been activated for this battle. Their guns are limbered and just sitting there doing nothing, which usually doesn't happen. They usually try and shoot you when their artillery is in range. And their infantry are just in a mixed formation. Most of their army is hidden right now, so you can't see it. But as we go through the battle, it becomes clear that the enemy hasn't even deployed their troops. It's just left them in the default setup when the game loads and hasn't done anything to them. So the top level AI is switched off for some reason. They can't make any decisions. That means everything the AI does will be down to the secondary AI, the unit AI, which overrides the main AI. So what that means is we can make the enemy come and attack us, but only one unit at a time. We have to go and aggro individual units so their AI overrides the orders to do nothing and they'll come and attack us. But we can't aggro the whole army like we usually can by just shooting artillery at them and making the top level AI turn off its defensive mode. If that makes any sense, and if that's even the correct interpretation. But long story short, it means my plan for this battle is out the window, and I didn't really realise it was out the window until too late. So I'm going to skip to how this battle ended, and then we'll take another look at it in a second. Basically, I had to go and advance towards the enemy, but because I don't have many troops, I have to do that very carefully. One stray volley will rout my men, and the time limit is running out, as you can see. So at the end I was being a bit more brazen and getting too close to the enemy, and this proved to be a big problem because the enemy's infantry units are elite units technically. They're basically dead, so they had no men, but they have like triple the morale of regular rifle units. So they just run at us with a small group, and while our group's bigger, we can't withstand it, and these two tiny groups routed all of my men. And with only a couple of minutes left in the battle, this was devastating because the odd tiny group of enemy troops here and there was just going to win on time. So there we go, we ended up losing the battle, and very shortly after that we lost the campaign as a result. I say we lost the campaign. We lost Switzerland, which should be the condition for losing the campaign, but the game did softlock upon losing Switzerland, so we never technically got to a screen that said we lost. But yes, in pure Iron Man rules, Belgium was unfortunately defeated in this war, sad to say. But what I did was go back to the save before this glitched out battle and just try it again, because this time, now that I know the AI is just going to sit there, I'm not going to waste the first 20 minutes of the battle waiting by my trenches to see if they'll come over, which is pretty much what I did the first time. We just need to go aggro the enemy right away, so we rush the cav out to hang around near the enemy, which activates the individual unit's scripted AI. They say, right, we're attacking, and they'll come and attack on their own and get quite easily killed. I wasn't paying very close attention, as you can see, and I pretty much got my rifle unit killed just because I was playing on triple speed the whole time, since I just sat there for an hour doing that last battle with no avail. I was looking for an easy way through this fight. So yes, the rifle cav did take a lot of heat in this battle, but they did their job. We continually drew enemy units over to face us. In this case, we're struggling to actually kill this enemy unit. I thought I had them in the bag because I've got my 4 machine guns on a little rise shooting at relatively close range into this enemy unit, but it's just not doing anything. Machine guns outside of bunkers really do suck. Their accuracy is extremely low, so they can't hit things even right in front of them. It's very much spraying at huge groups, huge armies, which is how they get their kills. But with the rest of our infantry, we are able to rout the units attacking us right there. At this stage I needed to advance towards the enemy. I probably could have gotten away with drawing more things towards me, but not only did I throw my rifle cav away even more by not paying attention, but I was very conscious of the time running out again, having just fell victim to that. So I'm being more aggressive than I was before. We've still got half the battle left, but I am going to leave the trenches and do a more dangerous attack against all of the enemy's miscellaneous hidden units all over the place. We've got an interesting thing going on here. It's kind of hard to tell, but my machine guns are actually firing at that nearest enemy unit, but strangely it hasn't activated their AI, so it's actually proximity that causes them to aggro when the Master Overlord AI is turned off. Being attacked doesn't do anything. Makes me think that, as someone said in the comments a couple of times, if you had a couple of units of snipers in your army, this sort of situation would be fine because you could just kill them all and the AI wouldn't notice. Anyway, in this case, we do take out that nearest unit soon enough, and we might as well skip forward now because basically I'm just doing this to unit after unit, including the enemy general. Down he goes after he makes his personal attack on our lines, and it doesn't go very well. The enemy have a lot more units than it looks like right now. It kind of looks like we've already won this battle, but they had like 10 hidden units. They had engineers and citizenry all over the place across the battlefield. So gradually we advance, find and destroy all of them, and indeed we pick up a heroic victory in the end with some time even to spare, although it still did take a long time. We lost about 100 men, and when you only have 250 men, that's a big deal. So Belgium's army is now just one company's worth of troops. We are on the very edge of complete destruction, yet we have now taken Milan. So this is our chance to bounce back, hopefully anyway. The place is extremely rich compared to the places we had before. It's much richer than Brussels, for example. So now we're making a load of money. We can afford to have more units. I need to lower taxes slightly to stop rebellion, but I can still have them pretty damn high, and the people are okay with it, so that's good news. And this place gives you extreme replenishment. If we can have a couple of unmolested turns, we'll just bounce back to full strength right away. So the Milan plan appears to be paying off. In the German turn, Switzerland falls again, or in this timeline, and this time it doesn't softlock the game. I almost thought it did for a second there, but we do get away with it. The game continues. That's all according to plan then, since Switzerland was being sacrificed to hold the Germans up. But you can see they immediately start coming after us. They are aggressively going for us right here. That's one potential weakness of the Milan plan, which is that the AI might not ignore me. Part of the plan's advantage was that by being in Italy, I, in theory, wouldn't be fighting Germany and Austria-Hungary. But as we'll see, we're going to be fighting them anyway. We need to repair up the recruitment building here to unlock our full suite of available options, but we can recruit a few things right away, including some more machine guns and mortars, which might come in handy. Now check out this sneaky bit of diplomacy. Not that this actually matters in any way, but we did get Italy to not only have peace with us, but to break their alliance with Austria-Hungary. This doesn't mean anything because of the way the mod is scripted. The relationships are being enforced, as you may remember from the very beginning of this series. So at the start of the next turn, they're back at war with us, and they're allied again to Austria-Hungary. That's a shame, but it's good to know Italy are willing to betray their allies in the right circumstances. Anyway, we need to keep waiting around because we've got plenty more strength to gain as long as no one attacks us. And so far, no one is. The German army is here wandering around. I say the German army. The huge pile of German armies, the iceberg tip of it, is there in Milan. They can destroy all of our exterior buildings, which will reduce our income a fair bit actually. I think they're going to take about half of it away. But still, we might as well stay in Milan. It's better for us to continue building up strength rather than going out. And also, the Italians are nearby with various armies. Our strategic situation remains terrible. We could be overwhelmed at any time, but it just hasn't happened so far. I can put a few troops on the bridge east of Milan to hold those Germans in check, so while they will ravage all of Milan's greater territories, which is actually quite big, probably bigger than Belgium originally was, they are now not going to be able to reach Milan itself. Now some more cheeky diplomacy. I got the Italians to pay for peace. I think they even offered it themselves, I should say. So that's good. They're definitely intimidated by us Belgian nomads. But again, the war just starts again right away. Really, we just got some free money there. That's all that's happening. Now I finally repaired the training building in Milan so I can start recruiting machine gun bunkers. And you may note that the machine gun bunker now has 12 crewmen instead of the old 4, as someone suggested in the comments ages ago. This prevents them from despawning after battles. So now we're going to try and make an army that actually has some permanent machine gun bunkers for us to exploit. Here we are now like 3 turns later, nothing happened and I've successfully recruited a couple of machine gun bunkers. And look at this, we've got like a full stack of troops. The Belgian army is maybe bigger than it's ever been sitting here in Milan. This is a glorious new age. We're really bouncing back fast here. I did have to give up that bridge in the east because it looked like Milan was going to be attacked from the west and north, but the AI gave up on that, so that's why we don't have troops out there anymore. But that doesn't matter. We're going to focus on going in the other direction right now. I've put this army together and we're just going to attack. I've got no specific plan right now other than to initiate a battle because I wanted to see whether my 12-man bunker squad thing actually worked because I didn't know yet, but spoiler, it does, so we will be seeing a lot more bunkers as we go on. Anyway, so I engage in this little battle to kill the Italians near Milan. They've got a load of bunkers themselves, but you can see some of them are the 4-man version because it's only the ones recruited after I made the change that will have the 12-man crews. The enemy only have a few regular units, so we can easily win the normal part of the battle, even just with our numbers. Taking out the bunkers will be the real challenge for this fight. With my own bunker here, ensconced in the middle of our front line, I'm trying to fire at this general who's moving across the hills in the background. Managed to get a few hits and then the general just goes wild and decides to charge right forwards, charging into the line of bullets coming out of my machine gun bunker very generously, so I don't even need to adjust my line of fire, and with that the enemy general is taken out right at the start of the battle. That is a good start. But yes, our main challenge is not to deal with their infantry or cavalry or anything, is to deal with those bunkers, because it's just a case of hoping we eventually destroy them before the time limit runs out. And a good start, we've already got one right at the start of the battle. I guess we got a couple of lucky hits there with our howitzers. The enemy do have some artillery of their own, but they're set up on a hill towards the edge of the map, and as we can see here they are mostly just shooting the hill itself, so we're pretty safe from this, or so I thought. I am actually under fire according to the unit card at the bottom on one of my bunkers, and I came over here to take a look, and indeed we've actually lost one of our bunkers without me realising. But I don't think it was due to the field guns attacking us. What I think it was in retrospect is that the mortars who are right behind them do inflict damage on the bunker with their outbound fire, because doing some experiments later on, your bunkers claim to be under fire if your mortars are shooting from anywhere close to them, but if you move the mortars away or stop them from firing, they stop claiming to be under fire. So in some way your bunkers do lose health if the mortars are too close. That's a weird tip to have picked up, and we learned it the hard way in this battle. The good news is one more bunker has been taken out. Of course we still have to deal with the bulletproof crew, but with our mortars we're able to kill the crew before they become a nuisance really. The crew are still vulnerable to explosions, luckily enough. Here's some footage to represent that there was a minor infantry battle. This was mainly an issue because my machine gun bunker in the middle of the line died, my other one's too far away to help. So we did have to do some normal fighting, but we have a huge advantage, so really nothing to say about that. And here was the final moment of the battle when one of the enemy's machine gun crews was just wandering about on the hillside, and the men I sent up the hill to kill the enemy's artillery came down and encountered them. A volley of bullets, of course, does nothing, and now my men know they are encountering the dreaded enemy Terminators. So we're just going to have to absolutely surround and pound with a melee charge. It's only 2 guys against our couple of hundred, but even the charge itself doesn't manage to get one of them. You might think we'd be able to take them down real easy because they're just wielding pocket knives and we're surrounding them with what are effectively spearmen. But yes, surprisingly difficult. After a long time, we do eventually rout that unit and we win the battle. So we've successfully gotten rid of all those enemy bunkers. We could also, by the way, have gotten rid of them by just attacking this army with 1 unit and then running away, because that would cause them to despawn in a nice exploiting move, but we've done it the hard way. We only got a close victory, which I thought was a bit unfair considering that we didn't really lose that much stuff, and what we did lose were mostly the conscripts who came in as reinforcements and took part briefly in the infantry battle. Anyway, that battle was kind of pointless. It was just an experiment. We've not really gained anything by killing those couple of units, but I guess it's better than not killing them. The issue we have now is that the Germans, after like 5 or 6 turns of just standing around, suddenly decide they are going to attack Milan and come over with like 4 armies, although actually they have second thoughts right away, and that just quickly scaled back down to just the 1 army near Milan. It also ruins our financial situation. We could do with breaking this siege, and obviously I could do it by just bringing my main army back to challenge them. However, there's also the potential that the garrison in there already could do it as well. So we can gamble by sending our main army to just go on and try to secure the territory to our west. If we can clear out those Italian armies and take that town, our front line will be much neater, will be less threatened from all sides as we are right now. So I'm eager to achieve that. Therefore the main force will focus on this goal and just leave Milan under siege. Hopefully we can get away with this. I was trying to see if I could push the attack right now by dropping all of my equipment here. I can, but that's a bit pointless. We're going to do that the slow way. So next turn perhaps we'll get a chance to attack. For now we need to deal with Milan, and because we're losing money I don't want the siege to continue. Plus, because the German armies are out of reinforcement range of the besieging guy right now, this is the best time to attack, so we're just going to go for it right away. The enemy have a huge advantage, but we do have a bunker, so now the question is, will exploits be enough to get us through the situation and allow my gamble to pay off? Well, we'll look at that next time.